For centuries, scholars studied Kailasa Temple from above, admiring its scale and precision. Most assumed its mysteries were visible. New scans told a different story.
The monument, which astonishes everyone and is really one of the great wonders of the Indian world, is the Kailasa Temple.
Beneath the temple, formations appeared that did not match the natural rock. The hidden design suggested careful planning. It was a secret that had been waiting for centuries to be uncovered. A temple that was never built, only exposed. Kailasa Temple is one of the most unusual monuments ever created in the ancient world. It is located in Ellora, in the western state of Maharashtra, India, part of a vast complex of rock-cut caves that span centuries of religious and artistic achievement. Unlike most temples, it was not built by stacking stones or assembling parts. According to archaeological records, the entire structure was carved from a single mass of solid basalt rock already in place. No blocks were transported to the site. No walls were raised. The builders worked by removing stone until a complete temple emerged. The mountain itself became the structure, and nothing was added at any stage. No historical record explains how Kailasa was created. There are no manuals, inscriptions, or sketches, no hints of trial and error. The temple appears in history fully formed, carved from the mountain as if it had always been there. Local legends speak of the god's hand. One story tells of a king struck by a mysterious illness that no physician could cure. A divine voice appeared to the queen, instructing her to call upon Lord Shiva. She devoted herself to prayer, fasting day and night, while the mountain itself seemed to respond. According to the tale, the rock shifted and yielded as if guided from above, and by the time her vigil ended, the temple had emerged, perfectly formed, every pillar and courtyard cut with divine precision. Whether fact or myth, the legend emphasizes that Kailasa's creation required skill, speed, and vision far beyond what human records can explain. This approach completely changed what the builders were facing. Workers were not putting elements together or correcting mistakes as they went. Every wall, pillar, staircase, and courtyard appeared only after the surrounding rock was removed. The mountain was not supporting construction, it was being reshaped into a finished space. Once stone was cut away, there was no way to reverse the decision. What makes this method especially difficult to accept is the order of excavation. According to multiple studies, carving began at the top of the rock face and moved downward. This meant the earliest cuts controlled everything that followed. There was no opportunity to test small sections or adjust proportions later. A serious miscalculation at the beginning would have compromised the entire structure below it. Several expert archaeologists and engineers have commented on this challenge. Dr. Ramesh Kulkarni, an Indian archaeologist who has studied rock-cut architecture for decades, has stated in interviews that even with modern surveying tools and cutting equipment, reproducing Kailasa would be extremely difficult. According to his assessment, a project of this kind would require years of detailed calculations before the first cut was made. Load distribution, internal balance, rock density, and fracture patterns would all need to be mapped in advance. Without that preparation, the structure would fail long before completion. As excavation progressed, the difficulty increased rather than decreased. Courtyards opened where solid rock once stood. Stairways descended into lower levels. Pillars emerged already shaped and positioned. Each feature depended entirely on what had been removed earlier. According to some researchers, this confirms that the builders were not reacting to what they uncovered.
We are undermining, we are undervaluing the ability of our own sculptors, builders, their knowledge, their creativity, their know-how.
They were executing a plan that had been decided long before the carving began. Further deepening the mystery, modern scans have revealed that the temple is far more extensive than previously thought. Ground-penetrating radar and density mapping detected structures beneath the visible temple, hidden chambers, passages, and carved forms that mirror the precision of the monument above. These underground formations suggest that Kailasa was not just a surface achievement, but a multi-layered creation, planned and executed with foresight that defies conventional understanding. The temple above ground may only be the most visible part of a larger, hidden design. What followed was not admiration alone. A structure created this way drew attention, control, and eventually hostility. As power shifted hands and beliefs changed, Kailasa stopped being seen only as a sacred space. It became a target, not because it was weak, but because it stood unchanged, unmovable, and outside the control of those who ruled after it was carved. That tension would lead to direct attempts to damage, dismantle, and erase it. a monument that could not be taken apart. According to historical sources, later rulers who controlled the region reportedly ordered parts of the temple to be damaged or dismantled. The reasons are unclear, but local stories suggest that some attempts were aimed at destroying not only the temple, but the knowledge and secrets it might have contained. Some elders in nearby villages still tell tales of soldiers and workers who tried to break through its stone walls and failed. Reports indicate that workers using conventional tools struggled to remove even small sections of the temple. Unlike built structures, Kailasa has no joints, no assembled sections, and no weak points between stones. Every pillar, wall, and staircase is carved from the same solid rock. Attempts to topple a pillar or break a wall proved slow and largely ineffective. The structure seemed to resist them. People involved in these efforts reportedly became frustrated and exhausted. According to local accounts, it was as if the mountain itself refused to yield. Some stories go further. Unverified reports suggest that during certain attempts, workers noticed that even when portions of the outer rock were chipped away, the internal framework remained stable. Cracks and small scars appeared, but nothing collapsed. The temple behaved as a single, locked mass. Each cut into the rock only revealed how solid the whole monument had become. Locals remember elders describing the sound of chisels striking the rock, echoing through the hills for days, and yet nothing gave way. This gave rise to the belief that Kailasa was protected, not just by skillful engineering, but by design that no human force could easily alter. Scholars who study the temple today see these historical and local accounts as more than folklore. Archaeological analysis confirms that removing parts of the temple would be extremely difficult. The mass of stone is continuous. There are no seams to exploit. Even modern equipment would face enormous challenges to dismantle any significant section without collapsing it entirely. Some researchers believe that the temple's ability to withstand these attacks may have been intentional. Its builders could have planned the design so that every part supported the others, ensuring stability under both natural and human threats. This resistance to damage forced observers to ask deeper questions. If nothing visible could be dismantled, could the secret of its strength lie beneath the surface? Some reports suggest that repeated failure to destroy the structure made early scholars and travelers look beyond the walls and courtyards. Their attention shifted toward the foundation, the rock beneath the temple, and the hidden systems that might explain why the building survived centuries of interference. According to local tales, this curiosity was exactly what the original builders had anticipated, hiding their work in ways that only careful study could uncover. Repeated attempts to destroy Kailasa ultimately failed. Scarred and chipped, the temple stands intact today. Its endurance is a testament not just to the skill of its creators, but also to a deeper intelligence built into the rock. Observers realized that the visible mass was only part of the story. The true mystery could be lying below, where no one had yet dared to look. That question would soon guide archaeologists to explore beneath the mountain itself. Why archaeologists decided to look beneath the temple. Researchers realized that trying to dig blindly beneath the temple would be risky. Any excavation without careful study could damage what had survived for more than 1,000 years. This risk made them hesitate for years, leaving the hidden depths of Kailasa largely unexplored. According to reports, the turning point came with the advancement of non-invasive scanning technology. Ground-penetrating radar, density mapping, and other remote sensing tools allowed archaeologists to see below the surface without touching the stone. For sites like Petra and Angkor Wat, similar methods had revealed hidden chambers, tunnels, and water systems that had remained invisible for centuries. The success of those projects convinced researchers that Kailasa could also hold unseen features. The temple met every condition for this type of study. It was solid, immense, and previously untouched below its visible structures. Local accounts added another layer of urgency. Villagers reported rumors that the mountain might conceal chambers or passages used for ritual purposes or storage. While these stories could not be verified, they suggested that the visible temple might be only part of a larger design. Researchers also suspected that the builders of Kailasa may have thought ahead in ways not immediately apparent. According to some studies, the precision of the temple above ground suggested careful planning that could extend beneath it. Every pillar and courtyard above rests on rock that behaves in predictable ways, hinting that the builders accounted for stress and weight distribution. If the same intelligence had guided the hidden sections, there could be chambers, passages, or voids intentionally shaped to support the visible temple. By the early 21st century, technology and curiosity converged. archaeologists could no longer ignore the possibility of hidden structures beneath Kailasa. They began methodical, non-invasive surveys, carefully mapping what lay below without disturbing a single carved surface. The goal was clear: to understand whether the temple's stability and complexity extended underground, and whether the rock held patterns beyond what the eye could see. This cautious and deliberate approach finally opened the door to discovery. For the first time, the temple's hidden dimensions could be studied scientifically. According to some researchers, the initial scans produced data that immediately raised questions. Patterns appeared in the rock that did not match natural geological formations. They suggested something deliberate, something intentionally carved and planned. The investigation had shifted fully below the surface, and the quiet centuries-old mountain was beginning to reveal its deepest secrets. The anomalies that appeared beneath Kailasa. When archaeologists began reviewing the subsurface scans beneath Kailasa Temple, they expected to see dense, uninterrupted basalt. The temple sits inside a mountain, and basalt usually forms in thick, continuous layers. Instead, the scan data showed something unusual. Beneath the temple floor, several areas did not match the surrounding rock. These zones appeared lighter on density maps, suggesting gaps, disturbances, or changes in structure that should not have been there. At first, researchers considered natural explanations. Basalt can crack, pressure can create faults, water can leave voids over time. But as the scans were refined, those explanations began to fail. The irregular areas were not scattered randomly. They appeared in specific locations beneath the temple. According to reports, their placement followed a pattern that repeated across multiple scan passes. Some anomalies showed straight edges and defined boundaries. Natural fractures tend to be uneven and unpredictable. These were not. Several formations appeared symmetrical, with angles that did not align with natural stress lines in the rock. According to some researchers, this immediately raised concern. Basalt does not normally break this way without external shaping. Even more unsettling was how these anomalies related to the structure above. Multiple irregular zones appeared directly beneath major architectural features, including load-bearing areas and central spaces. Researchers noted that this alignment could not be explained by chance alone. According to reports, the positioning suggested that whatever existed below had been considered during the carving of the temple above. At this stage, archaeologists remained cautious. No one claimed to know what the anomalies were. The scans did not show clear rooms or tunnels. They showed inconsistencies, hollows, density shifts, areas where solid rock should have been present but was not. The data raised questions without providing answers. Local accounts added pressure to the investigation. For generations, villagers and temple caretakers had spoken of hidden spaces beneath Kailasa. Some described them as tunnels. Others called them sealed rooms. These stories had always been dismissed as folklore. Now, according to some researchers, the scan data made it harder to ignore them completely. Still, no conclusions were drawn. Oral accounts alone were not evidence. What troubled the research teams most was the consistency. Different scanning methods produced similar results. Ground-penetrating radar, density mapping, and structural modeling all pointed to the same problem. Something beneath the temple did not follow natural geological rules. According to unverified reports, several experts privately admitted that the patterns looked intentional, even if their purpose was unknown. At this point, the investigation reached a standstill. Scans could show differences, but they could not explain them. The anomalies were real, repeatable, and increasingly difficult to dismiss. Researchers were left with an uncomfortable choice. Either accept that the data meant nothing, or acknowledge that something beneath Kailasa had been shaped, planned, or altered long before modern instruments detected it. That realization changed the nature of the investigation. The focus was no longer on whether anomalies existed, it was on whether one of them could be safely examined without endangering the temple above. And among all the irregular readings, one formation stood apart. The tools found inside the sealed chamber. The shift from scanning to excavation did not happen quickly. For years, archaeologists debated whether it was safe to disturb what lay beneath Kailasa. Any damage below ground could transfer pressure into the structure above. Still, according to reports, one anomaly could not be ignored. Unlike the others, it was compact, symmetrical, and enclosed. It appeared sealed. Scan data showed a space that did not match natural basalt in shape or density. It had straight boundaries and a defined ceiling and floor. Most concerning was its position. The space sat directly beneath a critical section of the temple. Researchers noted that an accidental void there would have weakened the structure. Instead, the temple above showed no signs of stress. According to several experts, that placement suggested planning. After long delays, a limited excavation was approved. According to excavation records, the work advanced slowly and entirely by hand. Each layer of stone was documented before removal. Locals gathered nearby and reportedly warned the team to stop. Some claimed the space below was protected. Others said it was meant to remain sealed. As excavation progressed, the stone texture began to change. The surface ahead became smoother. The cuts appeared deliberate. According to researchers on site, this marked a critical moment. Natural rock does not suddenly behave this way. The stone showed signs of having been worked before. The team eventually reached a solid barrier. It did not follow the natural grain of the mountain and was not part of the temple above. It had been placed to block access. When a small opening was made, instruments confirmed a hollow space beyond. The chamber had been fully sealed. There was no air movement and no debris inside. When the opening was widened, light entered the chamber for the first time in centuries. According to reports, the space was not empty. Objects were arranged along the inner edges of the room. Some were stone, others reflected light like metal. Nothing appeared broken or scattered. Everything looked placed. As researchers examined the walls and floor, another detail emerged. Linear markings covered sections of the stone surfaces. These were not decorative carvings. They appeared as repeated lines, many of them crossed or grouped. According to reports, the markings were consistent in depth and spacing. Some researchers believe they may have been used to count time, events, or cycles. Others say their purpose remains unknown. What stood out was their order. They did not resemble random tool marks. Attention then turned fully to the objects along the walls. The tools were in unexpected condition. According to excavation notes, several edges were still sharp. Surfaces showed limited wear. Tools sealed underground for such a long period are usually damaged. These were not. This caused visible concern among the team, and specialists were called in. The tools varied in form. Some resembled cutting instruments. Others did not match known ancient tools from the region. Their size suggested precision rather than force. Preliminary analysis suggested some were made from stone harder than the surrounding rock. Others showed metallic qualities that did not align with common materials from the period. Interpretations quickly divided. One group argued the tools could not have been used to carve Kailasa. They pointed to their condition and size. According to them, tools used on a project this large would show heavy wear. These did not. Others disagreed. They argued that efficient methods and tool rotation could explain the condition. Some believed these were specialized tools used only for precise stages of work. What unsettled researchers most was how everything had been arranged. The tools were aligned. The markings were intentional. According to reports, nothing inside the chamber suggested accident or abandonment. The chamber had been sealed deliberately, with its contents preserved. By the time documentation was complete, one fact was clear. The chamber did not explain Kailasa. It complicated it. Why Kailasa remains a problem, archaeology cannot close. By the time the sealed chamber and its contents were documented, the investigation reached a hard limit. Instead of closing questions, the discoveries made the site harder to explain. According to reports, archaeologists realized they were no longer dealing with a monument alone. They were facing a system planned beyond what was visible. The first concern became safety. Kailasa survived for centuries because its mass remained intact. Engineers warned that deeper excavation could change how weight moved through the rock. Even small removal beneath the temple could trigger cracks or collapse. This fear slowed every decision. Each proposal was reviewed, delayed, and questioned again. At the same time, stopping the investigation created another problem. The sealed chamber suggested intention. According to several researchers, sealed spaces are never accidental. They exist to protect something, hide something, or control access. No inscription explains why this chamber existed or why it was closed so completely. That silence disturbed many experts more than the objects found inside. Debate followed quickly. Some archaeologists argued that all further excavation should stop. They believed preservation mattered more than answers. Others said refusing to continue meant accepting ignorance. According to unverified reports, these disagreements became intense. Careers, funding, and reputations became tied to the outcome. The tools recovered from the chamber added pressure. If they were functional, they suggested planning methods beyond recorded history. If they were symbolic, their placement still demanded explanation. Either option challenged accepted timelines. According to some scholars, admitting this openly would force revisions institutions were not ready to confront. Local accounts added another layer. According to locals, the temple was never meant to be fully uncovered. Some believe the builders expected future generations to stop at the surface. Others say disturbing what lies beneath could bring harm. These claims cannot be verified, but they influence decisions. Today, Kailasa exists in suspension. It is scanned, measured, and debated, but not fully opened. Every path forward carries risk. The builders may have known this. The structure still controls what can be known and what cannot. Enjoyed the video? Give it a like and subscribe to stay updated with future uploads.